with the texting. Go to my Patreon if you want all the juicy tips and tricks on how to, you know, navigate yourself in texting to become, you know, more productive and make the Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So for this video, it's gonna be a story time, and I'm gonna give you a quick story time on how I got started with the whole text chatting vibe, right? So a couple years ago, I had a friend. This person was my best friend at this time, like, and that's kind of like a complicated situation. Like, I believe, when I think about it, I believe if I tell y'all about my life on here, I'd probably be garnering more views because it is so ups and downs, it's so chaotic. But as it relates to other people, but that's not what this channel is about. But anyways, at this time, this person was my best friend, and it was like, you know, we talk sometimes, and then we don't talk for months, and then we talk again for months, and that was the whole, you know, dynamic of our friendship, because at the end of the day, we understood each other like that. Like, we could go for 6 months without talking to each other, and then, or a year without talking to each other, and then when we start talking to each other again, it's just like, it's instant chemistry. It's just like we never missed a beat, and we just fill each other in on what went on over the time that we weren't, you know, communicating with each other, and that's that, right? So I remembered when I was working as an accountant at a security company. I was making hella money at that security company. I'm not even gonna lie, I'm not gonna cap. I was making hella money. I was hardly at work. I was at home most of the time, so I could do my work from home, and I was killing it, like, you know. So I would have had that job until this day, but the owner sold the company to someone else because, you know, his own issues, right? But yeah, I was making hella money there, and then I think this is where I started to get a bit spoiled. Like, I was in this job, I was mostly working from home. This is way before COVID, way before all of that come in. I was going into the office like twice every week, or once every 2 weeks, or twice every 2 weeks, and it gave me time to be with my son and help him with his work, and I really liked that. I really liked that aspect of it, and I wasn't ready to stop, you know. But anyway, at that point, I was sorting out to get like a jerk center going, where, you know, it would be a more touristy vibes, where tourists will come and they get their jerk chicken, and they get festival, and they get jerk chicken with festival or bread. There would be like different types of soups, you know, just little things, fries. It's basically done to order items, because of the whole reason of not wanting to, you know, pre-prepare food that, you know, you're gonna have to throw out, because I wanted the food that I'm serving to be fresh. That is a story for another day too. God, I have so many stories. Wow. Okay, so that's a story for another day as well. It turned out that it didn't pan out. Like, I had the location, I had everything, I was pouring my money into it, and all that. At the last, I started pouring my money into it, but it didn't work out. And me being me, enjoying the fact that I'm at home with my son, and I could help him with his homework. I could, you know, be there when he gets home from school. I can ask him how his day is and not be completely exhausted and drained and just, you know, miserable like I was with other jobs. And I felt like that just spoiled me, and I couldn't go back out to work. And that's when I, you know, started camming full time, when after that job, after I, basically, it was I wasn't fired and I didn't resign. So after the company sold and I got paid up my money and I stayed home, I didn't go out and look for another job. I just decided to start camming full time. So at this point, I'm navigating my way through camming, and it wasn't going through so good because I didn't know about these cam sodas and these, live jasmine and these. I didn't know about those, and at that point I didn't really care to know about them, because with camming I was introduced to camming by one of my exes that introduced me to camming when I was working at a call center, and he like basically showed it to me and introduced me to OnLive with I have a whole story time on that. I have a whole situation where I'm talking about that in my other videos, in my first original videos, so I'm not even going to touch on that, but just for context's sake, that's where it came from. So I didn't know anything about these other camming companies or nothing like that. So, and me having a cam profile for so freaking long, I didn't even realize that, my traction was dead because I have this account for so long and I wasn't using it. Anyways, because I built my own account. At the time when I was with him, I didn't have my own account. It was somebody else's account he introduced me to, and showed it to me and whatnot, and he was like, oh, you could pass for her, maybe you should try it. And he was like, no, you don't need to get naked or anything, it's forbidden on this part, so all you need to do is just log in and talk to them. And the first person I got, I was so freaking nervous, I was shaking, but I don't know, I'm going back to that. But anyways, so when I got back, I was when he and I broke up and I was just by myself, I created a profile for myself on that site, and it was pretty easy, which is OnLive. I created my profile on the site, which is pretty easy, and I was, I started to cam, but I wasn't getting in a lot of people at that time. I didn't have an audience, I didn't have nothing, and at that point I was literally I didn't start, don't get me wrong, I didn't start a camming when I left the whole accounting situation. I started my camming profile, I signed up for camming way before that, way before that, when he and I broke up, and I wasn't working at the call center no more, but I was in the process of looking for another job, and I didn't want to be in a call center again, so I was in between looking for another job, and I signed up for it then. And even then I wasn't on it as much because I was still a bit nervous. I didn't know what I was doing, I didn't know what to do, and guys would come in and guys would ask me to do stuff, and I'm like, no, it's forbidden and blah 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 blah, and I'd be like, but anyways, maybe I'll do another story time telling you all about that. If you want a story time me telling you all about that, comment it in the comment section down below, and I'll tell you all about my camming exposure and my camming experience when I just started. But anyways, by this time I was all, my account was all seasoned, and I no longer had the new girl traction or anything like that. So I was starting from ground zero with no freaking audience, nobody, and basically on the site I'm nobody, right? And if the honest to the truth to it is, if you're not white, you struggle to gain, in any online platform, anything like that, any online platform, be it YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, any online platform, if you're not white, the traction is not as much, and when you do get the traction on there, when you do garner some kind of traction, you still have to fight to keep it. So it's the camming industry is no different. So that's why I was proud of myself when I get in the top tier, because like it's no different. So anyways, I was doing that. I started camming at the time. That's when I decided to like pick up camming full time, because I didn't want to go back out, to work. No, wait. No, even then I didn't start picking up camming full time. I'm lying. I didn't even start picking up camming full time. I was doing camming on and off at that point too. And then I got a teaching job, and I was working there for a minute. Well, the teaching job that I got, I was just helping out a friend, right? I was just helping out a friend to build her school, because she was doing a school for inner city kids, where, you know, they didn't get that high school. It's not really inner city kids, it's young adults, and they didn't get their qualifications in high school, so they're trying to teach them a trade at this point. So with the trade, with that, my friend needed some help, so I decided that I was gonna, you know, assist her with her whole needing a teacher to teach food and nutrition, because that's what I went to college for. I went to university for food service production and management. So, and it was in the teaching sector. So I is a trained teacher basically. And so I offered her my assistance, because at the time it was my friend. I thought she was my friend. That's another story for another time. If y'all want to hear my story times, y'all gotta tell me. If you don't tell me, I'm not gonna say them, because that's just it. But anyways, she started acting a fool, so I just basically split. And at that time, in the midst of her acting a fool and me splitting, my best friend came back into play, and she was like, oh, I'm doing this texting thing. At the time, we were texting with Texting Factory, and she was like, oh, I'm doing this texting thing, blah, blah, blah. You can sign up for it. First, she wanted me to, you know, help her work her account. And I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. Like, I can't afford to, like, work on an account with you. Like, I can't afford to work on an account with you and split the money, because of the fact that I have an entire child to take care of and an entire household. Like, if I was single, then fine, you know, we could link up and do our thing. But, I'm a single parent. I'm not just single. But anyway, she gave me the link to Texting Factory. I signed up for Texting Factory. I got through. Like, you know, the sign up process at that time, you basically send in your information, you send in your application, they contacted you, they tell you what they want from you, and in the process of sending in your information, they tell you to fill out some questions. And basically they gave you scenarios of what type of messages you would get, and then you respond to those, and based off how you respond to them, that will determine if you got the job or not. Anyways, apparently they liked how I respond to them. I was really nervous. At this point, this company paid weekly, which is something that I really liked. So I have to buckle in every week and put in that work to get paid. Anywho's, I went ahead and I basically started the process. Then they contacted me and tell me that if I had a Skype account, whatever, which I did have a Skype account. It was a long time ago, so I had to, you know, revive my Skype account. Gave them the information, and then someone contacted me on Skype. I didn't get to see the person. They saw me. So what they did, they asked me to have my ID, and I need to have my ID up to my face. And they looked at me, and they looked at my ID to make sure that I'm me. Hold up. Yeah. Sorry about that. My sinus was draining, and I was getting kind of stuffy. I didn't want to do all that on camera. So, anyways. So, where was I? So, yeah, they checked you out and see if you are you, and you are who you say you are, and that you are actually of legal age. Then they contact you again, and then they give you a login, and they say, okay, send your first 50 messages. Let's see how you do. Once you send your first 50 messages, then they go and they give you like 2 days to send 50 messages. And if you don't send the 50 messages within those 2 days, then you don't get the job. So I sent the 50 messages right away, because I was like, you know, I wanted this, you know. So I sent the 50 messages within that same day, and I, contacting them, because they tell me to contact them once I send the 50 messages, which I did, and I contacted them. They did that. Then they say, okay, great, this is your login information, keep on sending messages, and that's it. So I got paid for those first 50 messages that I sent, and I'm getting paid for the messages now that I'm sending now, because they contacted me and they're like, okay, go ahead, continue working. They didn't tell me right away. I think it took on the next day for them to tell me that go ahead, continue working, or something like that, or it was later on in the day. I don't really remember, because I know that I was kind of nervous, wondering if I did good or not, because they weren't responding to me right away. So when I did finally get that information, at this point, Texting Factory wasn't as strict as it was. The clients that they had weren't as strict as they are now, Texting Factory wasn't as strict as they are now. Like, a lot of these companies are now so strict because of who they were hiring in the past. Because in the past, they would just put anybody on these accounts. Like, I would be there and I would be about to send my messages, and I see all kind of bull crap in the messages. I'm like, huh? What the hell does this mean? What is this person trying to say to this person? And so, and then a lot of time is just basically correction. And at that point with Texting Factory, you could have used voice to text. So you could have just speak what you're saying, and the computer types it out for you, or you could just use your phone and do the narration thing, and it types it out for you. Texting Factory, I'm telling you, it wasn't that strict. You could clock a lot of messages back in the day, but because they kept hiring these, Filipinos, these Chinese, these, all these people that do not speak good English, and it came across as, not speaking good English. So the customers who were receiving these messages with these people not sending good English, they were like, this is like, what the hell is going on here? Like, I don't understand what you're saying. So they were pretty pissed off with that. And because of that, that's why they got so strict afterwards. So when I worked with Texting Factory is not a company that, really cares about their employees at all. They don't care. They didn't care then, and they still don't care now. And they didn't care about their employees, but they did pay a decent, thing per message, right? And I think it went all the way up to like 11 cents per message or 12 cents per message. And at this point, it's easy. Like, sending 100 messages is easy, so, and then you're getting 11 cents per message. Like, in an hour and a half, you made $11 just texting. $11 just texting. And so for the entire day, people be clocking in like $200-300 a day just messaging, because it was that easy back in the day. And they didn't care about sending good quality messages back then, because like I said, they were hiring non-English speakers or people who couldn't speak English properly, and it came across in the typing because you write how you speak, and that kind of messed the company up a lot. And like I said, Texting Factory wasn't a company that really cares about its contractors, because you're a contracted worker, you're not an employee. They didn't care about its contractors. So they will just drop you in a dime with no explanation of what you did wrong or how you could improve yourself or how not to do it again. They just move, right? I didn't like that about it, but I got dropped. Once you get dropped, it's like you can't pick up any other, accounts with them. Okay, fine. So I was there, and I struggled through, and I found other companies for myself, and I could go through and tell you them, but I don't remember all of them right now. But I do have a video that's dedicated to it in my archives. You can go and check that out. I think it says real legit jobs you can do, something like that, but it's in my archives, right? And I was basically, going through with these companies, and these companies did the same thing as Texting Factory. They didn't tell you what you did wrong. They just X'd you out. At this point, I spoke to one of the ladies that I taught. Like I said, these are adults, young adults and adults that didn't get their qualifications in high school. And I have a good rapport with people. So she was one of the persons that I kept in contact with. And I contacted her and I was like, hey, I'm on this account, blah, 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 blah. Are you working? You know, I basically try to introduce her to it. And she was like, oh, it's not my speed, it's not my style, blah, blah, blah. But forward a year later, she found a company that she started working with through a friend who introduced her to it as well. And I was like, girl, that's what I was telling you about. And she's like, yeah, well, she didn't realize that's what it was, blah, blah, blah. And then she told me the company that she's working with. I'm like, really? For real? She's like, yeah. At that time, she was working with ABC. So she introduced me to ABC. And I went and found ABC and I signed up for it. I got accepted with ABC. And the nature was so different. The whole environment was so different from the very beginning. Like, they stayed with you step by step from the very beginning. Like, right now, we are no longer on Skype with ABC. We're on Rocket. I don't know what it is like being on a Rocket, because the way we used to communicate, we stopped that a year ago. We weren't communicating as much with each other because a lot of people were getting fed up, because at the time messages were really low. There was no messages coming in, so there was no money being made, and it was just hell. So a lot of people left that we used to communicate with, and some are still there, but the communication part with, you know, communicating with the other contracted workers and communicating with the company that hired us, that same level is not there anymore, but it still exists, and you can still get assistance whenever you want. I get assistance whenever I want. Like, I can contact the CEO whenever I have an issue. I can contact, you know, a team lead whenever I have an issue. So anytime I have any issue, there's somebody I can contact, you know. And I built a few friendships from ABC with people from different Caribbean islands. I built a friendship there with them, and it was just it's just an amazing experience, and it still is an amazing experience, and one that I'm happy that I'm able to have, you know, with the different people involved. And that's in a nutshell how I got started with my camming, with my text chat. Don't forget to go to Pioneer so you can get all the juicy tips and tricks as it relates to texting. If you want that, I can't put all that information here, so go to go to Pioneer. Shit, what the hell am I talking? Go to Patreon. I don't know what the hell I'm talking. I don't know where I'm at. Pioneer is how you get paid, but with the texting, go to my Patreon if you want all the juicy tips and tricks on how to, you know, navigate yourself in texting to become, you know, more productive and make the maximum amount of money you can and keep on improving yourself, because I've been through it all. So I think I have an understanding, and I hope my information can help you. So but all that information is gonna be on my Patreon, so please guys go. It's in the link in the description box down below. The company I work with, the link is in the description box down below. Like, the information that you want is in the description box down below. But yeah, you guys, that's basically it. That's how I got, you know, started with texting, and still texting today and still loving it. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna sort myself out and start my next video, because I started camming again last night. So I'm camming earlier than usual, so I started back again, and let's see how this works out. I love y'all. Bye.